Hey everybody, Alex back here. Welcome to your favorite PTE preparation channel, Dream English. Of course, today we got a brand new video for you. We're going to talk about something that's very, very helpful, especially with what people struggle with nowadays, which is the reading section. We get a lot of messages, we get a lot of comments with students asking, "Hi sir, hi Dream English, hi Alex, hi Shan. I'm really struggling in the reading section. Can you give us some tips? Can you give us some tricks?" So today, I'm going to talk about the one simple trick I use to help me get the correct answer for the fill in the blanks. It applies for both your reading and writing fill in the blanks, the ones with the 4 options, as well as your reading fill in the blanks, where you drag and drop the correct word and you put it in the right box. So again, you'll learn about the one simple trick that will help you get the right answer more often than not. Let's get started. In a second, you're about to see the demo of what I actually mean. But before that, we have to cover a little bit of grammar. Now, we've tried different ways to teach the students over the years. We've tried teaching them like all the proper grammar like you do in school. You learn first person, second person, third person, past tense, continuous tense, this clause, that clause. But it gets really, really confusing for a lot of people. Like grammar is something that everybody hates. Here's the thing though, if you think about it, if you're watching this video, if you can understand what I'm saying, your grammar is probably pretty good. Meaning, maybe you don't know the name of a particular tense on paper, like you cannot tell maybe if this is past perfect continuous or past continuous. But if I say something incorrectly, you would know that, Alex doesn't make any sense. He's making grammar mistakes, right? Like if I told you, for example, yesterday I was go to work. You're thinking, what's wrong with this guy? He cannot speak properly. I was go to work. Maybe you know that the right answer would be I was going to work or I went to work. Why? Because we talk about yesterday, which is in the past tense. So that's what I mean. All of you probably watch Netflix or HBO on demand, or you watch movies in English, you read the newspaper, you're scrolling on Facebook, so your grammar knowledge is pretty good. But we get wrapped up and we get confused with all this difficult terminology, right? So whenever we teach reading in class, we try to explain to the students in a very simple way with lots of examples that's easy to understand in the kind of context that you use English in your daily life, right? Not some complex formulas and explanations and so on. So we're going to do the same thing today. If you want to learn proper grammar, like you're going to study your PhD in English, this is not the right video for you. You should go somewhere else. But if you want to find just a tiny edge to help you in your exam, to get an extra 2-3 points in reading, and just help you get over the line, just get over 79, get over 65, this will definitely be useful. So let's have a look. Before we actually start with the explanation, there are a few basics we have to cover. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the few basics we have to cover is the different types of words in a sentence, right? So the first type of words that is probably the most common is something we call a noun, okay? Now, I want you to think, what is a noun? Can you think of an example of a noun, right? A noun, of course, could be a place, could be a name, could be some kind of a thing or object, right? And the way I try to explain it, because sometimes people forget what are nouns and what are some of the other types of words. In simple words, it's something that you can have. Something you can have. For example, I can have a pair of glasses, right? Or I can have a cell phone. So glasses are a noun, and the cell phone is also a noun, right? So it's something you can have. But people oftentimes forget about things which are not alive. Objects which are not physical. Like for example, you can also have pride. You can also have energy. You can also have intelligence. You can also have ambition or hard work. So I always think of something that I can have. Can I have a pen? Yeah. Can I have lots of energy? Yes. So all of those would be classified as a noun. And let's think of an easy example and something, the kind of word that you use every day. For example, a house. Okay, so a house would be something we call a noun. It's an object, it's a thing. The second most common word, which is repeated in these questions, is of course a verb. Now, all of you probably know what a verb is. You use verbs every single day. A verb, it's some kind of a word that represents an action, right? So in other words, it's doing something. And you can think of very simple examples: working, sleeping, to study, or running. But of course, it can be in different tenses. I am running, or I was running. I run daily, or I ran every day. So the verbs can be in different tenses. But again, let's pick a very simple example, right? So let's say the word to run. That's a verb. Next, let's go with an adjective. What is an adjective? Can you think of an example? Probably you do, right? So an adjective is used to describe something, right? And for example, you can say something is beautiful, or something is very tasty, or very delicious, or things like that, right? So let's say as an adjective, let's put the word beautiful. Beautiful. And the last word that's often repeated that people usually mess up with, it's something called an adverb. Now this is where some people get lost. What is an adverb? Some people will say that we use it to describe a verb. We use it to describe this. We use it to describe that. But again, that's very confusing when you think of it. Okay, what is a verb? Okay, so a word that describes the verb. Okay, that's an adverb. What is? It's very confusing. So to make it simple, how I think of an adverb is it is used to amplify something. So to add more kind of a power to it, right? Let's say, for example, you are singing, but you're just doing an action. But if I want to amplify the word singing, I would say you're singing beautifully. You're singing amazingly. Or let's say you went running this morning, right? So you're running very hard. So the word very, of course, is an adverb. It used to amplify the situation. Now, how do we know what is an adverb? They usually have a very easy tell. They usually have a very easy giveaway, which is the following. They will end with either the letter Y or ly. For example, you might have the word extremely beautiful, very beautiful, incredibly beautiful, amazingly beautiful, right? So let's, as an example, give the word very, very beautiful. Now, as a general rule in English, we typically don't put two words of the same type after one another. So we would not put two verbs after one another. I cannot say that I went running, swimming. Doesn't make sense. I went running, comma, swimming. I went running and swimming. I will go running or swimming. So you either need to have some kind of a punctuation in between, like a comma, or you need to have some kind of word to connect it, like the word and. Same thing, I would not use two nouns after one another. I would not say I have glasses phone. I have glasses phone. Doesn't make a lot of sense. I have glasses and a phone. Or I have glasses, comma, phone, comma, and a computer. So you don't put those two words immediately next to one another. Same thing with adjective. I don't say this phone is black nice. No, it's black and nice. It's black and fast. So again, you'd need a comma or some kind of a connector in between. And same thing with adverbs. You cannot say she sings incredibly amazingly. No, she sings incredibly and amazingly beautiful. So same concept applies, which I'm sure you probably know by now. It's not your first day learning English. Now that we got the boring part out of the way, what is the actual trick? Okay? And let me reveal a few things here on my screen that you will see in a second about how to actually use this trick. So let me just get my eraser over here. Okay? And here's the question on the screen. So let's have a look what this question is about. Okay, so they talk about haute couture, some kind of a business, some kind of a chamber in Paris, French Department of Industry. They talk about some kind of a presentation, and they talk about 35 separate outfits and evening wear. Okay, so just by scanning the text, we can get the idea that what they are talking about is something related to clothing. Some kind of a fashion show, some kind of a presentation, because we got words like different outfits, different wear, we have presentations, collections, things like that. So you just need to understand what is the main gist or what is the main point of the text. Here's the problem, okay? And this is not just for you when practicing, this is for me as well, and for many other native English speakers, quite frankly. Sometimes we get students from Scotland or Ireland, and they struggle the same way. Whenever, for example, I look for a certain word in the blank, I will try to kind of guess what that word is before I even look at the options. So I will specifically try to figure out what type of word would it be. Is it an action, like doing something? Or is it an object, like a thing? Or is it a way to describe something? Or is it a way to amplify something, right? So in which case we'd use an adverb. The reason why is because when you know the kind of word you're looking for, when you have a look at the options below, it makes it much easier, because rather than getting confused by 8 or 9 different options, you can narrow it down to 1 or 2 words. And when you get to those 1 or 2 words, of course, you can figure out with your common sense which one of them is more appropriate. Because in this question, in reading fill in the blanks, what Pearson will oftentimes do is they will give you guys the right words logically with the right meaning, but grammatically is incorrect. So you might have the word presentation, which is a noun, but they might give you one of the options like presenting. So you're thinking, oh yeah, there is a presenting. You go, oh yeah, presenting, they're presenting something. But there is a presenting would be incorrect. However, if I said there is a presentation, that would be right. So they will give you the right word logically, but grammatically is the wrong thing. So in this case, you'd have maybe one of the other options that doesn't seem to fit as well based on meaning, but grammatically is the only correct answer. So you guys need to remember that grammar here is always a priority. Your answers always have to be grammatically correct. So how do we use this trick? How do we actually utilize the thing I was explaining to you guys earlier? Okay, here's what we're going to do. Before I look at any options, I want to figure out what kind of a word that is. So if you remember, for each one of our types of sentence, we gave an example. A house for noun, the word to run for a verb, beautiful for adjective, and the word very for an adverb. So what I'll try to do is I will try to put those words in the blank and conjugate them to see if it makes sense grammatically, not logically. Logically, my answer right now is going to be wrong, but I just want to see if the type of word that we are picking actually fits in the context. So for example, let's have a look. Can I say that this chamber in Paris, which is a house by the French department, which is housed by the French department? Yes or no? Which is housed by the French department? Doesn't make a lot of sense. Can I say which is running by the French department? Which is running by the French department? So again, logically, it's wrong. But can I say it is running by this place? I'm running by the store this morning? Yeah, you could say that. So this could potentially be correct. Can I say which is beautiful by the French department? So here's the difficulty. If you stopped here at the blank, which is beautiful, makes sense. But can I say which is beautiful by the French department? Doesn't really seem to work. Can I say which is very by the French department? Which is very by the French department? Doesn't seem to make a lot of sense either. So these last two options don't work. And of course, our first one, which is a noun, doesn't work. So right away, if you follow this exercise, if you understand the logic here, we're going to look for some kind of a verb, some kind of an action. Now, I'm simplifying this a lot. Some of you have amazing grammar. So maybe you know that if you have the word is blank, you're going to look for a verb. Or if you have a blank followed by a preposition, like the word by, verbs and prepositions usually go together. So some of you may know that. But I'm explaining kind of a simple way out if your grammar is not amazing. So let's actually have a look at some of these options that we have below. Let me just clear up my screen here, make it a little bit more readable. Okay. So right away, we know that for the first blank, whichever word we're going to look for is going to be a verb. What are the verbs? Deploy, could be. Regulated, could be. Endorse, could be. Employ, could be. Presentation is a noun. Inspiration is a noun. because we can have a presentation or we can have inspiration, right? A noun is something you can have. But see, what happens is, in this question in particular, a lot of people go, which is presentation by the French department? So they think, oh yeah, there's a presentation, but actually this word here is a noun, so it doesn't work. So we have to figure out and actually try all of these. Can I say which is deployed by the French department? No, doesn't work. Which is regulated by the French department? Could be. Which is endorsed by the French department? Which is endorsed by? Nope, because it would be with ed, like endorsed by. Which is employed by? Can I say he is employed by me? No, I would say Justin is employed by me. So employed doesn't work. So right away, based on these, you would know that for the first blank, it has to be the word regulated grammatically. Okay? Let's see if we can use the same logic and the same method to actually, technical difficulties, to figure out what are the answers for the other blanks. Okay? So just bear with me for a second. Okay, let's have a look at the next blank. Members must blank 15 or more people. So let's try all the options. Can we say members must a house, 15 or more people? Members must car, 15 or more people. Doesn't work. Members must pen, 15 or more people. So I'm just replacing a simple noun in the blank to see if it makes sense, if it would actually fit. So this one doesn't work. Okay. Members must run 15 or more people. Okay, maybe I can run people. Members, again, remember this is logically wrong, but grammatically it fits. Members must beautiful 15 or more people. Members must beautiful 15 or more people. No. Members must vary 15 or more people. So none of these work. Again, we're looking for a verb. Could be deploy, could be endorse, could be employ. So here you're going to use your common sense. Members must deploy 15 or more people. So I can send the people. Okay. Members must endorse 15 or more people. Meaning I say something nice about them. I give them my endorsement. Or they must employ 15 or more people. So in this situation, we narrow down to 3 words, but you still have to use your common sense. You still need to understand the context. So let's read a little bit more. So they have to do something with 15 people and present their collection twice a year. So maybe they either, endorse doesn't make sense. They either send the people or they hire the people. Okay, if we're still not sure, let's leave it empty for now, and we'll come back to this later on when we understand more of the context. But we know that we just narrowed down to 2 of these words. Never feel the pressure to make the wrong choice. Because here what happens, if you make the wrong choice, but this is the word that was the answer in the next blank, 2 of your options are gone right away. So in this situation, let's leave it empty for now. And each blank must include at least 35 separate outfits. So each endorse must include? No. Each employ? And it's employee, not employee. So don't get confused. Each presentation must include 35 outfits, or each inspiration must include different outfits. So again, if we use the previous trick, the only thing we can fit in here is a noun. Each house must include 15 outfits or 35 outfits. Each running must include? No. Each beautiful must include? No. Each very must include? So even if you use that previous trick, you know there are only 2 options that could fit. So either to talk about a presentation or inspiration. But can an inspiration include 35 outfits? Doesn't make sense. Can I have a presentation for you in this video and wear 35 different outfits? I could, right? So here you can figure it out that each presentation must include 35 outfits. So now this makes it easier for us to figure out the remaining blank, which we left empty, because we have fewer options to choose from, and we're less likely to make that mistake where you mess up one blank and it's like a snowball effect. You mess up 2 or 3 afterwards. So now that we know they talk about a French presentation of some kind, some clothing presentation, right? And they do it twice a year. So do they deploy 15 people or do they employ 15 people? So if they want to present their collection, what do? Do they deploy the people? Maybe they can deploy them on stage, but just deploy the people doesn't make sense. But if they do it twice a year, it makes sense that they hire the people. So each time they do the presentation, they have to employ 15 people, to hire 15 people. So this is actually your correct answer. If you follow this, you would get 3 out of 3. Okay? And let's do one more example really quickly, following the same trick. But this time I will not talk as much. Okay? We'll try to just go straight to this trick and see how it works. So let's pick this word here. Okay? And first, always try to understand the context. So they talk about the new year, the holiday. Okay? They talk about some farewell and problems. They talk about December 31st, about Buddhists, and okay, it seems like they talk about the different traditions related to New Year. So let's have a look. Forget the year houses are held. Can I hold a house? Not logically, but grammatically. Can I hold a pen? Yeah, so I could have a noun, okay? Forget the year running are held. No. Forget the year beautiful are held. No. Forget the year very are held. No. So we know that we're going to look for a noun. So what can we hold? And keep in mind as well, if they say are held, we're going to look for something plural. So it has to be concerns, parties, areas, or temples. We narrow it down to 3 options. Now, grammatically, all of these fit, but we need to use our logic a little bit. If we hold something, can you hold a concern? Can you hold concerns? Not quite. You can have concerns, but you cannot hold concerns. Can you hold parties? Okay, I'm holding a party at my house next Tuesday. Yeah, it could be. All right. Or can you hold temples? Logically doesn't make sense. I cannot lift up a temple. I cannot hold it. So it has to be, forget the year, parties are held. Okay? Problems and something. So problems and something. Problems and houses, problems and running, problems and beautiful, problems and very. So it has to be, again, a noun. And if we go back to the 2 nouns we had left over here, it has to be problems and concerns, okay? Or problems and temples. But because we have the word and in between, we need something similar to the word problems, so concerns makes the most sense. We had some technical difficulties in between, so the notes on the screen are gone, but we can continue anyways. So if you look at the second blank here, and as you recall, we agreed to have a noun, right? So we need something plural. Problems and could be concerns, problems and areas, problems and temples. But you have to use your logic as well. You have to figure out which one of those is the most similar to the word problems. So problems and areas, problems and temples, but problems and concerns could be the right answer. Let's go for the next one. And blank for a new beginning. So can I say and house for a new beginning? No. And running for a new beginning? Could be. And beautiful for a new beginning? No. And very for a new beginning? No. So we need a verb. So could be an augment for a new beginning, expel for a new beginning, prepare for a new beginning, or foresee for a new beginning. And again, here you can use your knowledge of verbs and prepositions, but prepare for something seems to make the most sense. Next one, Buddhist blank strike their gongs. Can I say Buddhist houses strike their gongs? Could be. Buddhist running strike their gongs? No. Buddhist beautiful strike their gongs? No. Or Buddhist very strike their gongs? Doesn't work. So we need some kind of a noun, which is similar to houses. So Buddhist area strike their gongs or Buddhist temples? Now, do you have an area, Buddhist area? Could be, but if you strike the gong, just and put the animation of a big gong, dun, right? So it'd be Buddhist temples strike their gongs. So now we just got one blank left. And of course, it's easier because you only narrowed it down to 4 options. In an effort to augment 108 types of human weakness, in an effort to expel 108 types of human weakness, in an effort to areas 108 types? No. In areas to foresee 108 types of weakness. So here, human weakness is something negative. So you want to figure out based on the context, if it's negative, do you really want to have weakness? Probably not. So you want to get rid of it, so you want to expel 108 types of weakness. So you guys see this trick doesn't work for every blank, and sometimes maybe it will not help you get like all correct 100%. But whenever you're stuck and you don't know what kind of word to look for, or maybe you understand the text but some of the words are very difficult and you just don't know if you're looking for a verb or for a noun or for an adjective. But this is going to help you to kind of differentiate between the different types. So remember, you can use your own words. I just use something simple like house for a noun, running for a verb, beautiful for an adjective, and very for an adverb. And just try to quickly fit it in there and see grammatically if it would make sense. So guys, that's it for today's video. It's a little hack that I use. It's just one of those tools in your arsenal that you can use to your full advantage in the exam. Hopefully it will help you get an extra 3, 4, even 5 marks in your test and jump over that ceiling that you've been struggling to pass. See you in the next video. If you like these little hacks and tricks, leave a comment. We got tons of these that you might find helpful. So this is it for this video, guys. It means a lot to us and to our team if you click like right now and you click subscribe. This is how we know that this video was valuable, that it helped you, and especially your comments. I personally read every single comment and reply to as many as I can. And the best news is whenever we share free tips and advice and it works for you and you get your score and we get good news. This is the best, seeing people get their scores, get their acceptances, get their registrations and their PR. So leave a comment, like, and I'll see you in the next video.